My name is Charlie.
And I'm Marshall. You can follow our show, The Extra Shot, at Extra Shot LTU on Twitter and Instagram for updates throughout the week and what we can expect for next week. You can also watch us live on Upstart Live or upstart.net.au. We have a massive show today, Charlie. We really do. We've got a lot of guests and a lot of packages to have a look at. And awesome stuff. But first of all, we've got the socialist alternative, Charlotte Tavan, to join us to talk about the Me Too movement. We also have our senior producer, Asil Senmak. I apologise, Asil. We'll get that sorted out.
We'll get it
come
eventually.
back on here to talk about last week's Multicultural Festival here at Latrobe. We'll have our usual sport chat with Billy and Sahil. And we'll also have current Latrobe International Student Association president. I'm sure there's a shorter way to say that. The president, Yankee Lee, for our Humans of Latrobe segment. But first of all, here's Charlie with the news.
Thanks for that, Marshall. The Vatican's former ambassador to the United States has released a shocking letter that claims Pope Francis was aware of and even covered up sexual abuse allegations against ex-Cardinal Theodore McCarrick. Carlo Vigano alleges that senior Vatican officials knew as early as 18 years ago that McCarrick had routinely abused children within the church over the last 60 years. Vigano states that Pope Benedict XVI imposed sanctions on McCarrick in 2009, but Pope Francis chose to cover for him and elevate him as part of his trusted council. These allegations come days after Pope Francis begged for forgiveness after a grand jury report found that more than 1,000 children had been sexually abused by members of the church in the state of Pennsylvania in the US for the past 30 decades. Pope Francis is yet to respond to these allegations. And in political news, Australia has a new Prime Minister. Scott Morrison, who served as Treasurer since 2015, has replaced Malcolm Turnbull after a leadership challenge that Morrison won 45 votes to 40. The new PM has also announced a new ministry after Julie Bishop resigned from her position as Foreign Affairs Minister and will now be replaced by Marissa Payne. Morrison has said that his team was chosen to ensure stability, but also to begin the work of healing that is needed after the leadership change. However, there has been an influx of criticism against the new PM on social media, saying that his new lineup is bad for the environment and that he favours big business over working Australians. And in sport news, Serena Williams has been banned from wearing a Nike catsuit by the French Tennis Federation. Williams, who gave birth to a baby girl last September, stated that the suit is designed to prevent blood clots and maintain her circulation. Bernard Guidicelli, the head of the French Tennis Federation, stated that sometimes fashion goes too far and that any outfit similar to the catsuit will be banned in future. Nike recently released a tweet in support of Williams that states, "Nothing will ever take away her superpowers." And in some recent news, earlier today, the Victorian government announced a $50 billion underground rail network linking every major rail line in Melbourne. When completed, commuters would not need to travel into the CBD and back out to reach another part of Melbourne. The project would include the addition of 5 new train stations at Doncaster, Burwood, Monash, Airport and Bundoora. It's expected that the entire project will be completed by 2050. 2 people have been arrested after a violent scuffle broke out at the March for Men's Rights at Federation Square over the weekend. Anti-feminist Sydney Watson organised the march to support men and demonstrate her belief that Australia is demonising men in the Me Too movement. The march was met with a counter-rally called Stand Up for Equality, March Against Men's Rights Activists. More than 700 people attended the march and just over 500 people attended the counter-rally, both held on opposite sides of Federation Square. More than 100 police officers were on scene to break up altercations and arrested 2 men in a fight. A statement released from the National Union of Student Women's Department and the Campaign Against Racism and Fascism said that Sydney Watson's campaigns seek to enforce rigid gender norms and sexist stereotypes and violence against women. So what do you think about this protest, Marshall?
Any protest that turns violent is it's a terrible thing to see happen. Again, we've talked about this numerous times on and off camera, that discourse and protesting is important to any political situation around the world, and that's only if it's peaceful. So any violent protest is a no-go for me.
Yeah, I think it was really. I think the way that they handled a lot of the protests was bad. I think in the beginning they both hoped for it to be peaceful, but
Obviously,
fights always break out.
it's a divisive topic.
It
There's
is.
going to be people for and against, and people. Obviously, politics is very important to a lot of people,
Yeah.
and you use common sense here. There's going to be people who take it too far. On
Yeah,
both sides, there's going to be people who take it too far on both
yes.
sides because people care a lot about these issues.
Especially in this political climate. Sydney Watson in particular, who runs the anti-feminist campaign, is very outspoken about her support of Trump and things like that, which again is another really controversial topic, especially here. So yeah, I think that eventually, hopefully, each side will get to see what
People-
each other think.
People just have to settle down, like settle down, no matter what you support, and just settle down and
Yeah,
talk.
don't be violent ever.
Violence is never the answer.
Yes.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, and that's because I love to love. Who loves to fight?
Yeah, yeah.
That's luckily we got that because we got there's a protest similar to
Yes,
this last
there
week
was.
here at Latrobe, and we got a story about this now. So we'll go have a look at this now.
A student group is protesting the choice of speaker at an upcoming event on campus.
So we're protesting Australian journalist Bettina Arndt, who's like a long time. She's been, I guess, columnist for the Australian for decades now, writing about like anti-feminist topics and stuff like that. She's been asked to come and speak this week as like a provocative thing about, I guess, the problems with the Me Too campaign. In her words, that like the Me Too campaign is vindictive. We're here today to just basically provide a counter-narrative to that. We don't want to shut her down. We do believe universities should be a place of freedom of speech, but I guess this is the way that we're engaging with her pretty like awful reactionary ideas. She sort of thinks it's good that women get, or just like not a problem at least, that women get sort of regularly sexually assaulted or sexually harassed in her workplace. I would argue that almost everything good that we have today in society, the weekend, the 8-hour day, formal equal pay for women, were won through protest. I think it's a really important contribution to political discourse in this country. But I think being at a rally and organising protests can really help people cut against that sort of atomisation and powerlessness they feel against like pretty outrageous things in society.
Billy Higgins reporting for The Extra Shot.
And now joining us in studio is Charlotte to talk about the Me Too movement. Welcome, Charlotte.
Hi.
So what were your roles in the protest?
Well, my role in the protest that got held on campus was as a member of Socialist Alternatives. So I've been part in like organising a lot of political initiatives on campus and stuff. So I suppose every time like racism or sexism rears its ugly head on campus, I see it as a responsibility to try and present a counter narrative and, you know, get people to come along to demonstrations and get people at least talking about what is happening.
Yeah.
There's obviously we talked about in our last story before the package, the men's march that recently happened here in Melbourne. Did you go down and protest against that, or what are your thoughts on that sort of protest and that event that happened not recently?
Yeah, I was definitely a part of the counter protest on Saturday. The thing about the men's march that I think is really quite interesting is placing it within a broader context of a resurgence of far right politics and demonstrations, not only in Australia but globally. So whilst it was presented as a march for men's rights, obviously none of the organisers could point to any specific rights that men are being denied in Australian society, and just talked about it vaguely in a kind of way about like men aren't allowed to be masculine anymore, masculinity is under attack. But yeah, the thing about this demonstration is if you look at the organisers, these people have been organising other demonstrations in Melbourne recently, namely far-right anti-Muslim demonstrations. And the Anti-Defamation League actually just recently published a paper suggesting that men's rights is not only like a gateway towards kind of more vicious forms of like far-right politics, but actually is proving something to be able to cohere a bunch of kind of disparate far-right groupings. So one of the organisers for the men's rights demonstration was a quite well-known like far-right figure in Melbourne called R.V. Yemeni, who runs an IDF training gym and has been on record proclaiming himself as the world's proudest Jewish Nazi.
Oh, wow.
he was one of the two organisers of that demonstration, and of course, a lot of familiar faces popped up. People that I've seen at the Patriot marches. So it's important to like tackle this kind of like resurgence of misogyny alongside a resurgence of racism and, you know, anti-working class politics and stuff like that.
So you were at the march on Saturday. There was obviously reports of violence and whatnot. Did you see any of this events happen, or could you talk to us more perhaps of the specific things that you saw happen that were...
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you talk more about that?
Yeah, so our counter demonstration, which was organised by Campaign Against Racism and Fascism and also the National Union of Students Women's Department, and also had speakers from the National Union of Students LGBTI department as well. So any violence that happened at that demonstration was instigated by provocateurs from the far right. So for example, I don't know if you guys have heard about this new far right grouping that started in America called the Proud Boys.
Yeah, I was reading about that.
Yes.
Yeah, thrown around.
So there was a couple of Proud Boys attempting to break police barricades, enter the counter demonstration and trying to provoke violence and provoke a reaction. They were arrested quite quickly.
Yep.
But I mean...
which is a silly thing to do when you've got so much police
there was
activity
so many
around
police
it.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's all about like playing the victim, you know, saying like, oh, look at me, my freedom of speech is being silenced, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, you're jumping at police. It's not exactly, you're not just talking to a crowd. You're jumping at a police person. You know, it's silly, incredibly silly, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve.
Do you have thoughts on Bettina Arndt and what she is doing? She's giving election next week, I believe, here.
Yeah, Bettina Arndt's a pretty interesting case, and this also, this relates to like what I was saying about the connection between men's rights activism and the far right, because Bettina Arndt has been around for a long time. I mean, a lot of older people have been hearing about her for 20 years, but she seems to have been like trying to use this like new resurgence of like far right politics to propel her career. Like she already held quite misogynist views and always has. Like some of the things she says are like, you know, she uses the fact that like a lot of working women find it really difficult to balance like raising children and full-time careers. She uses that as an excuse to say, well, women should be excluded from the labour market, controversial things like that. But at the moment, I think it's quite obvious she's using this like new far-right resurgence to propel her career forward. So she was blogging last year about her good friend Milo Yiannopoulos and how she can't wait to get Milo Yiannopoulos to come and do a university tour with her, who is coming to Australia again in December. She interviewed Jordan Peterson, the new far-right intellectual / men's rights activist. So she seems to be really like trying to promote herself and latch on to like, the new resurgence of right-wing politics. But at the same time, the fact that the Liberal Party Club is also attempting to do that by hosting her and by, again, trying to appeal to men's rights activists and stuff to build their club and build their name is pretty worrying. And I think it's something that needs to be opposed by students who find these ideas revolting.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for coming in and talking to us, Charlotte. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
So last week was La Trobe's annual Multicultural Week that celebrates diversity and all of the different cultures that make La Trobe such an interesting and welcoming place. I went down to the event to check it out, so let's take a look. To celebrate La Trobe's many cultures, students and staff come together each year to celebrate Multicultural Week here on campus. I'm here at the Multicultural Festival in the Agora. It's extremely loud. Let's go see what's happening.
Hi guys, my name is Anthea and this is my beautiful committee and we're the Greek Society of La Trobe. Today we're here for the Multicultural Day. We've got different Greek traditional foods. We've got a goulouria, which are Greek sweet biscuits. We've got the mothers, which has got rice and leaves. It's vegetarian. And these here are Greek pastries. They're savoury and they've got spinach and feta.
Okay, I'm going to try.
Big words.
It's really good. I like that. With free food, entertainment, and information stalls, the Agora becomes an exciting cultural learning ground for people to share their heritage in an exciting way, whether it be through food or traditional activities.
My name is Chetna and I'm the president of A Look Into African Society. We're here to share our culture and our love for our roots. We have 53 different countries, so it's really important that we share and bring together the community that we have here at La Trobe. So we're painting the different flags of Africa, and we have some oil pastels so they can draw their flags. I think it's really important for people to be together and unite. It's really important for people to share their roots and to share their culture, their traditions, and so we can live together in peace.
From Chinese lion dancing, to African hand painting, to Latin dancing lessons, there is something for everyone to enjoy. It's also a great opportunity for students to get connected with relevant departments at La Trobe, or join one of the clubs and societies from La Trobe Student Union.
Thank you to everybody for coming out and supporting this event, and I hope everybody enjoys the performances and getting a taste of different cultures at the university. Thank you.
Joining us in the studio is our producer, Asil. Welcome, Asil. How are you?
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That's all right. So, Asil, what do you think about Multicultural Week?
I think it's a good opportunity to display all of the different cultures that we have at La Trobe, and it's a good way to kind of just point out the fact that we all come from different places, and there's diversity within our university and within Australia as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a sort of turbulent week with Australian politics, obviously. So we've been following it quite vigorously as journalism students and media students.
Yeah.
The new PM, Scott Morrison, he was the initiator of the Stop the Boats sort of campaign in the late 2000s. How do you think that could impact sort of the multiculturalism and multiculturalism in Australia as a whole? Could that have a negative impact? How do you see that going forward?
I think I think that it's a really good sort of thing to talk about when we're talking about multicultural festivals, and we're talking about this kind of activity that we look at. Yes, Australia is multicultural. Yes, Australia is diverse. But how multicultural is our policy? Like, are we truly multicultural when it comes to like our politicians? Are we happy to be multicultural? Are we happy to be a country made of immigrants? You know. And like, you know, we're celebrating our multiculturalism, but we are on stolen land. So that kind of puts a question mark about how much can we truly celebrate our multiculturalism. I just feel like, you know, having like a multicultural festival at La Trobe is really good for us as students, but I feel like our public and our festivals and so on are not reflected in our politics. It's just really sad. Like we are saying no to the boats, and we're saying no to taking in refugees, and we're saying no to taking in asylum seekers, but we say we're multicultural and we're proud of that. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, you know?
Well, at least there's a dialogue opened up now for the country to talk about these issues.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, like, we can expect some conversations happening on the political field in the coming few months, talking about, like, you know, immigration and so on. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you for coming in,
Thank
Asil. I
you,
appreciate it. I'm
Asil.
sure we'll have you on again. It's lovely to hear from
we
you every
will.
time.
It's really interesting to be out at the front
I
as
can
opposed to the back.
imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this break with some sport.
To celebrate La Trobe's many cultures, And we are back with Billy and Sahale to chat sport. How are we, boys?
Yeah, good. Thanks,
Oh,
Charlie.
great, Charlie. It's a great time of year. Spring's in the air, the sun's coming out, there's some green
Oh, it's
shoots.
boiling hot out
Final
here.
It is hot.
footy is just around the corner. So where would you rather be than in Melbourne?
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, I agree. So it's the end of the season this week, and there's a bye this week, but finals kick off next week for the AFL, and this week is awards week.
That's right. We'll be going into a bit more depth about the finals matchups themselves next week, but this week it is awards week, as you said. The coaches award was awarded last night to Max Gawn from Melbourne. The ruckman took out that award.
He's had an incredible season, Max Gawn.
He has had an incredible season.
I mean, he's got the Supercoach players and the fantasy players. He's been a star for them, so that's probably a good sort of. That's probably shows them the right reward that he's had for the year.
I think he had the most hit out to advantage this season, didn't he?
Yeah, he broke
Quite
a record
effective.
for hit outs in a season. He's had an outstanding year. So always one of the hottest topics in the year is the All Australian team, and I've thrown together one of my own, the 2018 team. We got we throw that up screen. There we go. So that's what I've come up with. So. What do we think? I think it's 100% perfect, but no two All-Australian teams are the same. So what do we think about that one?
I think, first of all, one of my pet peeves when they pick the All-Australian team, which is the best players in the Australian Football League, is when they pick players out of position. Dustin Martin should be on the ball, first and foremost. Why have you put him at a half-forward flank?
Well, he's kicked how many goals? 30-something. He's kicked enough goals. He splits his time 50-50 between the middle and the forward line. And there are always, I agree with you. I try and keep it as much as possible, players in their positions. I think he's the only one that you could debate about being out of position. He kicked 30 goals for the season. I think he splits his time enough up forward for me to justify that. So that's how I'm going to get away with that one.
That's the modern game, really. You've got to learn to do everything because you are all around the park. If you're at full forward, you're not Tony Lockett sitting down in the goal square doing nothing and kicking goals. You've got to learn to do everything. And I can see that with your side, with Patrick Dangerfield on the bench. He could come on and do anything he really wants, really. So apart from that, the pet peeve, I think it's a good side.
Yeah, but Danger hasn't really had the season that he's supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, especially coming off that season last season.
I think depends what standards you use to judge him.
But like,
by Patrick Dangerfield's standards.
if your standards are here like that, like Dangerfield was, you'd expect him, especially in his prime, to just keep going up. But then I think the inclusion of Gary Ablett in the midfield has taken a lot of ball off him, you know what I mean? Because he comes in and Gary's racking up about 30 disposals himself. And he's kicking a couple of goals, and he's still in his prime as well. He's still Gary Ablett. I'm surprised he wasn't even in this team this year. You know what I mean? But big missing player from this is Nat Fyfe.
Wow. Yeah, he only played 15 games, so that's how I justify that one.
I can tell that you're quite keen on getting Nat Fyfe in there.
Yes.
But I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No.
We're going to bring this back next week to discuss finals. I know Fremantle didn't make it, but we can discuss Nat Fyfe. But thank you for coming in, boys. Next week we'll discuss all the big matchups for the first week of AFL finals.
Can't wait.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Charlie, you're going to introduce us for Humans of Latrobe.
Yeah, so for this week of Humans of Latrobe, we have Yankee Lee. So let's take a look.
Hi, welcome Yankee to the studio. How are you?
Welcome.
Yeah, good. How are you?
Fantastic. Take us off, Charlie.
Okay, so Yankee, do you want to describe the kind of work that you do with international students here at Latrobe?
Okay, so I'm the president of the International Student Association since 2016. Yes.
Yep. Do you want to talk a little bit about your rap? You're a keen rapper. I actually saw you at the Multicultural Festival.
Yes.
You were in a little bit of our video.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I've been doing rap since, I guess, since middle school, about 2010.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so and we just had the multicultural festival
Yeah.
last week. So and just previous Sunday, so I was thinking, shit, I should drop something. So yeah, I just wrote this song called Chinese Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, I think that was pretty good because I got a very good reaction from the audience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of fun doing that.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. It's pretty cool.
How long did it
yeah.
take to work on that?
Yeah, definitely. You mean the process
Yeah,
of working
yeah.
on this song? Yeah. Because the multicultural week. So yeah, we got lots like Latin American cultures, like Asian cultures, like from everywhere. So yeah, but we don't have like any like Chinese representative to perform. And I'm one of the organizers for this event. I'm saying, why not? I'm just going to perform. So I just get my
If you're running the event, you have the full say.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want the stage for
Yeah.
this many minutes, and you rocked it, as you can
yeah.
see in that
Thank
video.
you, thank you, thanks for that. Yeah.
You were in the rap finals in China, is that right?
Oh yeah, that's called Rap of China, and that's in Melbourne. There was went to final in Melbourne. I got the top 10 in Melbourne. Yeah.
Oh wow,
Nice.
That's quite an achievement.
That your
Oh,
own
thank
track?
you.
Did you work on your own tracks? for
Yes,
that
yes,
event?
yes. I have my own songs. So, yeah.
And do you still write songs regularly? And
Recently, cause pretty busy work on my works, then
I can understand.
yeah. So for international student work, so I don't put that much time on music. But I'm about graduating soon. So once I graduating, I think I'm going back to do music again. So yeah, I might gonna drop some new songs.
yeah. Switching back to your role as president.
Yeah.
Quickly, what kind of work do you do with the international students?
Oh, there was heap of work. So we organizing a lot of events for international students, like trips, like sameness workshops. Yeah, and there's like events like welfare, so many things. There's heaps things. So as long as we can, think of the idea from our mind, which can help international students. So definitely we're gonna run that.
Cool. Thank you very much, Yankee, for joining
Yeah,
us. I
thank you.
appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. So
Yeah,
thank you
one
for-
more thing I want
Yes,
to
go ahead,
mention
go
about-
ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure. So last weekend we have the multicultural week. So this weekend, this Friday, we have the La Chupa Got Talent final. So that's my second year to run this event, and this is gonna be the biggest event during the whole year in La Chupa University, I think. So yeah, so just grab your
Everyone get
tickets,
down to
then
that.
come
Get
to
down.
support the people you like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we select 5 people out of 80. So they're all amazing and fantastic.
I
And that
cannot
day we're
wait.
gonna offer 8 main course meal and only cost $25. So it's pretty valuable price. So don't miss
wow.
out. And then that night I'm gonna perform again. So
Oh, sweet.
everybody
Gotta
check
get
it
down
out.
for that. I gotta
Yeah,
see
get
it
down.
before I get Yankee.
Thank you for that,
Thanks,
Yankee.
thanks
No
a lot.
worries.
Thank you.
That's it for our show, everyone. Charlie, did you have anything to add before we?
Yes, I just want to remind everyone to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ExtraShotLTU for updates and sneak peeks throughout the week for what's coming up in next week's show.
Now, before I finish off, I actually got a few things on next week's show I like to mention.
Yes.
I hear rumblings backstage that we have a donut story next week, and I'm very excited for this.
We do. That will be quite interesting.
And also, of course, we'll talk about the first week of finals, but we'll cut back to the donut story for just 10-15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favourite donut? Why?
Well, you'll find out next week, but probably Lamington donut. Have you ever had one?
No, I've never had a Lamington donut. I like Lamingtons. Are
Well-
they coconutty? Are they too coconutty?
No, they're really good. After you see the story, I think that you'll understand. You'll understand why
I
I
think
like
that
it.
the audience will like the story.
The audience will understand too. Yeah.
Cool. So I cannot wait for this.
Yes, it shall be good. We want to thank all of our guests for joining us today, and we'll
Thank
see
you.
you next week.
Thank you.